This video is a bit of an update or an addition or part two perhaps to my last video, William Gaudet and Lee Harvey Oswald's tourist card. In that video I opined, based on the information I presented, that there were two Oswalds, and one of them, or two people who identify themselves as Oswald, and one of them used a tourist card issued in Gaudet's name, but with Oswald's age. And what I think is that Oswald, or whoever, who was with Gaudet at the Mexican consulate in New Orleans, I think Oswald presented identification that identified him as William Gaudet, age 23 presumably, and that Gaudet presented information that identified him as Lee Harvey Oswald, age 56 or whatever. And I think the purpose was for Oswald to go under a name not his own, William Gaudet's, to Mexico City, and then to have the other one go as the decoy, so that it would appear in the evidence that Oswald went one way and one way only, and that was by bus. But the problem would be that the tourist card used by the Oswald on the bus would have the wrong age on it. It would be obviously the wrong age. Now, one possibility is that Oswald could have altered the age of the tourist card after it had been issued. And another possibility is he could have just gone with it, having the wrong age on there, and he could just explain that it was a clerical error. So I have a couple more pieces of information which I think are consistent with this idea. And the first one here is that 3 witnesses were found by the investigators, I think it was mostly the FBI, who were on the same bus Oswald was on that left Mexico City for New Laredo. And all 3 of them describe an incident where 2 people, just before they came to the U.S. border, 2 people were removed from the bus because they had document problems. And one of these people was Lee Harvey Oswald. So Oswald was removed from the bus for 10 to 15 minutes, they say, because he had a document problem. So I think it's consistent with the idea that perhaps he had the wrong age on his document, on his tourist card. Perhaps it said he was in his 50s when obviously he was not. And perhaps the sharp Mexican inspectors noticed that and talked to him. Now, it would be easy to say it was a clerical error. I mean, obviously, I'm Lee Harvey Oswald, here's my passport and all that. So he would probably be allowed to continue, I would think. But it's interesting that we have this documented by 3 witnesses that Oswald was taken off the bus before it got to New Laredo because he had a document problem. And the other one here comes from the CIA. U.S. Consulate, New Laredo, reported following at 1900 hours Mexico time to Ambassador Harvey Oswald Lee entered Mexico at Nuevo Laredo on 26 September. Said age 23 years, occupation photographer, residence New Orleans, destination Mexico City, Mexico tourist card number 2485. Now, it seems interesting to me, and of course I'm looking at it biased because I already think it's the case that the wrong age was on his document. But because it says he said age was 23, the implication is that perhaps his documentation did not support that. And so I think, and this would be, they would be looking at that tourist visa card that I showed in my last video, where in the Mexican version the age is redacted, in the CIA version it says 23 years old. But if it had just simply said 23 years old, I think they would just say here, age 23 years, occupation photographer, and so on. So I think this is weak support, but I think the word said put in there might mean that whoever wrote this knows that the original document does not have that age on it. So that's my update If you haven't seen the other video and you want this all to make sense to you, what I'm saying, you'll have to watch that, because there's no point in going over it all again, is there?